You're watching Central ITV. Stay with us for an audience with Shirley Bassey after the news.
From the studios of ITN, the news and sport with Carol Barnes and Graham Miller.
Good evening. Welcome to the programme. The headlines tonight. Tony Blair back from America with a new warning for Saddam Hussein. Congratulations, Breitling balloon team. You're in the record books.
And in sport, England's hopes of a Five Nations Grand Slam are ruined in Paris.
Tony Blair flew back from Washington tonight with an unequivocal message for Saddam Hussein. He said there'll undoubtedly be military action unless Saddam stops developing weapons of mass destruction. Mr. Blair also came back with a promise from President Clinton that he'll consider visiting Northern Ireland to help boost the peace process. Our political editor Michael Brunson travelled with the Prime Minister.
After spending time overnight at Camp David with the Clintons, the President invited Mr. Blair to join him in his weekly radio broadcast to the American people. Mr. Blair used that opportunity to drive home his support for military action against Saddam Hussein. And in an interview with me aboard Concorde on the way home, Mr. Blair explained why he was ready to risk the lives of British servicemen and women in such an operation.
No one wants to see the military option used or the lives of our servicemen and women put at risk. But if we don't stop Saddam Hussein developing these weapons of mass destruction, then the threat to world peace and world order will be all the greater.
Mr. Blair confirmed that President Clinton might help forward the Northern Ireland peace process by making another visit to Ulster, perhaps in May.
Let's see the precise timing. I mean, that would be one possibility, but what I was pleased was that President Clinton once again reaffirmed his very strong support for what the British government is doing in the Northern Ireland talks process, and his absolute determination and commitment on behalf of the United States that the peaceful path must be taken by all parties.
And is Mr. Blair back home having got too close to an American president in trouble? I'm not calculating the political risks, the Prime Minister told me. I'm backing a good and loyal colleague, because that is good for Britain. Michael Brunson, ITN, at Heathrow.
The Breitling orbiter balloon has finally come down to Earth with a bump and a flight endurance record in a Burmese paddy field. Since it took off from Switzerland, ITN's Terry Lloyd has tracked it all 9 days, 17 hours and 55 minutes across more than 5,000 miles.
They'd gone from high in the Swiss Alps to a paddy field in the Burmese countryside, snatching 2 world records on the way. They'd come down 85 miles north of Burma's capital.
Welcome to Burma.
We were the first to greet them.
Bertrand, well done, well done.
But the balloon still had life in it, and local villagers volunteered to hold it down. They managed to tie themselves in knots. Then the army joined in to try and shoot it down. The round-the-world attempt had been cut short by a fuel leak and China's refusal to let them cross over, yet the pilots were happy.
It's a great disappointment that we didn't make it all the way around the world, but such is life. And the really good thing is that, well, A, China have given us permission for next time, but B, all the other countries that we flew over were so marvellous.
Go ahead.
Yes?
Mid-voyage, specially installed cameras on board the capsule recorded these exclusive pictures as the British engineer abseiled outside to carry out repair work at 3,000 feet.
It shouldn't really be scary because I was A, clipped on with mountaineering equipment, and B, had a parachute on my back. But it takes an awful lot of concentration to walk off the end of a gondola.
Some may count this mission as a failure, but the Breitling orbiter has gone a quarter of a way around the world and set those 2 new records. More importantly, the experience has convinced all 3 pilots that a balloon can circumnavigate the globe non-stop and soon.
They intend to lift off again later this year, unless Richard Branson takes to the skies first and beats them to it. Terry Lloyd, ITN, Burma.
Road safety groups are welcoming government moves to lower the speed limit in residential areas. The government wants the limit cut from 30 to 20 miles an hour. Trials have shown far fewer children are killed on roads in 20-mile-an-hour zones. The Prince of Wales went trekking in the Himalayas today and left his entourage trailing. He joked that fitness was all in the breeding. The climb was to inspect a British aid project. Our royal correspondent Nicholas Owen did keep up with him.
An hour's flight from Nepal's capital Kathmandu took Prince Charles to the starting point of a 4-hour trek, a chance both to see spectacular Himalayan scenery and some of the efforts being made to help those living in one of the poorest countries in the world. The welcome was very warm, and that's how the walkers soon felt on quite a gruelling slog high into the mountains. A few reporters were allowed to join the party. Charles himself showed no sign of allowing his recent rib injury or recurrent back trouble to slow him down.
This is just the sort of thing the Prince of Wales enjoys, and he'll have more opportunity to do it when he gets to Bhutan, 600 miles away, on Monday.
For the moment, time to inspect how British aid has brought fresh water to a remote village. Squeals of bath time protest, but a reliable supply of fresh water is crucial, ensuring many more children survive into adulthood. Nicholas Owen, ITN, Nepal.
Now today's sports news, and with the details, here's Graham Miller.
England's hopes of a Five Nations Grand Slam have been shattered in Paris. They were beaten convincingly by last year's champions France. Scotland also won against Ireland in Dublin. Peter Staunton reports.
England's only response, apart from penalties, came from an old-fashioned fall.
It's just disappointed to, you don't want to lose if you played well, but we didn't play well, so it's a pretty major blow.
So 7 matches without a win, England's worst sequence for 25 years. They were still packing them in at Lansdowne Road when Ireland took the lead thanks to a controversial penalty try, awarded when Scotland handled in a scrum. But the Scots just about deserved their narrow victory, scoring a try which owed much to Alan Tate's strength and the tactics he picked up during his rugby league days. The lead changed hands 5 times in all, but Chalmers' late penalty secured it for Scotland. Peter Staunton, ITN Sport.
A full house at Old Trafford this afternoon paid tribute to the Busby Babes, killed in the Munich air crash 40 years ago. Sir Bobby Charlton, himself a survivor, led the memorial before the game between United and Bolton. A minute's silence at 4 minutes past 3, the precise time of the crash that killed 8 of the United team. On the pitch, United once again struggled on a day of surprises for the top teams. Andy Cole headed home a point-saving equaliser just 6 minutes from time. Blackburn and Liverpool failed to take advantage, both managing to lose at home. David Hurst scored twice for Southampton at Anfield to shatter Liverpool's unbeaten run, and Ruel Fox ensured Blackburn's defeat with Tottenham's 3rd goal in a rare away win. The results mean that United managed to stretch their lead at the top. Chelsea and Arsenal, though, meet at Highbury tomorrow. In Scotland, the leaders Rangers could only draw at home to Dunfermline. That means the winners of tomorrow's Hearts-Celtic game could leapfrog the champions at the top. Cricket, England's cricketers have given themselves a real chance of victory in the 2nd test in Trinidad. First, Angus Fraser took a career-best 8 for 53 as the West Indies were bowled out for 191. Then Alex Stewart scored 73. England are now 198 for 3, a lead of 221.
Finally, tonight's winning lottery numbers: 9, 25, 27, 31, 42 and 45. The bonus numbers 24. 5 winning tickets will each get £1.5 million. And that's the news tonight from Graham and me and the ITN Weekend team. Good night.
Good night.
Good evening. You know, winter refuses to bite. In fact, quite the opposite. A hint of spring, perhaps, by the middle of next week. Now, these were the sorts of temperatures we saw today, around about the average, but quite a chilly, blustery westerly wind. However, during the course of next week, we'll get some warm southerly winds wafting those temperatures up as high as the mid-teens in some cases, so quite a change. But tonight, quite a chilly feel in the east for a while, under clearing skies, perhaps a touch of ground frost. With a blanket of cloud will tend to invade from the west. A few outbreaks of rain around western fringes, but in the far northwest of Scotland, some heavier outbreaks towards morning. So tomorrow, a cloudy scene across many parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland. The rain, though, tending to ease off, turning lighter and more patchy, and some brightness appearing, especially in eastern parts of Northern Ireland, northeast England. Drier and brighter, certainly across southern and eastern parts of England, with some sunshine from time to time. Very reasonable temperatures too, 10, 11, 12 Celsius, possibly 13 in one or two spots, 55 Fahrenheit. Fairly light winds in the south, but quite a blustery southwesterly further north. That wind touching gale force across the north of Scotland at times. That's it from me. A very good night to you.
Power Gen, generating electricity whatever the weather.
Central Weather, sponsored by Stay Bright Windows and Conservatories. The clear choice in any weather.
Hi, good evening. Well, today's sunny skies have remained clear as we head into tonight, but there'll be little sign of any frost tomorrow morning because by about midnight, cloud will begin to edge into the west of the region, bringing some light rain and drizzle to parts of the northwest, which means it's a rather cloudy, damp start for the north in the morning, but dry and fairly bright elsewhere. And then the odd spot of rain or drizzle will linger over the peaks in the afternoon, but dry and bright on the whole, with some weak sunshine filtering through in places and feeling milder in the southwesterly wind, highs of 10 or 11 Celsius. Good night.
The Central 7-Day Weather Line, 0336 40 40 10.